Hi Anna, good night. I generally record this with my headphones, but I really can't find them, so I hope my computer mic is fine. So yeah, I will present my workshop presentation and framework. Also, I have roommates, so sorry if there's noise downstairs, but yeah. So my area of research is women and in design and how they aren't given the credit they deserve when speaking about famous authors in the creative industries in general and in the present day and all throughout history. My framework, I stated it with these three titles of investigation that I will touch on more specifically down the road. But yeah, the first one is women make up over half of the design industry. So why are there so few at the top? Which is very interesting, but again, I'll get to it. Then, what are the biggest hurdles faced by women in the design industry? Again, I'll touch on it later. And finally, why is there a lack of women in design leadership roles? So this is just like my starting framework, but I do want to clarify that there's a lot more research that I have to do before I settle on what my framework will look like. But something that I found very interesting from just like my general looking for information and very general research is that there's a lot of information about this, which is great. Like it's very useful in my case, but it's also a little bit it worries me that there's so much research on this topic and I don't think there's much being done yet. But there's a lot to be read on. There's a lot of statistics, which is very interesting, but again, I'll get to it. So the first one is women make up over half the design industry. So why are there so few at the top? So some interesting ideas that I got from this article is that in the United States, in female CEOs, there's only an average around 5%, which is very low. Then the percentage of female senior venture capitalists has actually dropped from 10% to just 6% in 2018, which is very interesting. They touch on how it dropped and why in the article, but I just like pinpointed a few of the comments. And 61% of the designers working today are women. This statistic, this percentage changes a lot from various articles that I read. It varies from like 60% to like 59% to like 63, but 61 it's a great like approximation on the actual number. But again, it's a lot of designers working in this industry for there just to be about 11% of the CEOs working like women. It's very low number. On the second one, that is what are the biggest hurdles faced by women in the design industry. I um, I got the data that 55% of men reported that they socialize with their managers outside of work, compared to just 47% of women. This statistic is important because there's a lot of studies that relate the relationship with your bosses and managers outside of work. It's very important on your permanence on that job and like even payment. So if men have more opportunities to socialize with their managers outside of work than women, that's an advantage for them to keep their jobs, basically. And another one is that according to the report, female designers take home just 73% of what their male counterparts are earning, which is actually very low and it's a scary statistic. This article touches a lot on economics and how the pay is not equal between men and women in design and how it is very dangerous and important and it should be more touched on. But I think that was the scariest statistic that just 73% of what their male counterparts are earning. And that scared me because I'm a woman and I am a designer, and that's a very low statistic, in my opinion. And then this article touches on something very important that I think is very, very useful in this case, and it's that implicit bias that they call equality's silent killer. And this has to do with culture, perspective, and how we view design. My video was cut, but yeah, I'll keep going. So yeah, the implicit bias on design and the perspective that people have on design and women in design in general. And then why is there a lack of women in design leadership roles? Here they touch on redefining what leadership looks like in general, which was very interesting. And then some quotes that I got. This was like a blog, so there's like a lot of mixed opinions. But yeah, I got we expect men to focus on their careers and self realization, while we expect women to be more nurturing and a domestic manager. And then we have to raise young women to believe that they are as capable of achieving success in their roles as their white male counterparts, which was very interesting because this talks about like how education, culture, and perspective has a lot of impact on the end that is the end problematic that is women in leadership roles in design. So yeah, my objectives on that I touched on my last presentation, they're still the same: to research, to present, and to propose a solution, theoretical or tangible on the problematic. So yeah, my hypothesis is that there needs to be a change in the cultural perspective towards women in design. I don't know how this change will look like. I think that's my hypothesis so far. So my stakeholder maps, my users are obviously women in design, in art, and young women in general, with direct contact with design historians, design teachers, design critics, and men in design. And indirect contact with design students, young designers, children's, art historians, public in general, the users of the design, etc. So in my methodology in qualitative research, I think that I will settle on survey that will be specifically directed to young women, designers, and design students. And my quantitative research will be a lot of data research, investigation, analysis of the data, and filter collection, etc. of data. My workshop proposal will be like a three-step workshop. The first one will be to give general context on the problematic from a historical perspective, then to present the problematic with specific data, and then discuss and propose tangible or theoretical solutions that will be applicable to our local context. So yeah, that will be, I don't know what activity it will take, but I do want to get it to do something that has to do with participation and involvement of the general public. So yeah. My next steps will be to create the survey questions, send the survey, then from that survey get the data collection, analyze and filter the data obtained, and well, of course, combined with a lot of external research, as I already said, to create the workshop and the work plan that will be developed during the workshop, and then to really refine details, basically. So yeah, that's pretty much it. Here are my references from my research so far. I have a few more, but these were the most interesting ones from the data they carry. So yeah, that's it. And thank you. Good night.